The DC Department of Transportation said, Tracey, we need you to come talk to our 1,100 field force and our 132 managers about psychological safety. It's like, of course I can. I had no idea what it was, but I learned, and I learned quickly. The concept of psychological safety can make a difference in a business. So that's what my passion is, that's what my focus is. There are companies that small and medium-sized companies aspire to be. They want to be like them. Who remembers the spaceship Challenger? There was an engineer who worked on the spaceship Challenger, and he saw that there was an O-ring, there was a problem. He tried to tell his managers, and they wouldn't listen to him. So the Challenger took off, and 73 seconds later, it exploded. He said it was the O-ring. He didn't have a voice. He didn't feel like his managers would listen to him as he talked about safety. That's what needs to change. All of those companies have stories like that that are in the headlines. I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can implement a safe and secure culture in your business. I'm an action girl. Some people say I'm bossy, but I like to think that I'm target-oriented, I'm focused. Number 1, you need to make sure that leadership finds it important. If I ask you a question, is safety important, and insert the name of your company, yes or no? You're all going to shake your heads, yes, right? So you think that it's safe. Here's how you find out. Do your people know that you value their safety, whether they're at work and off the clock or just on the clock? I'm talking non-OSHA safety. Do you provide personal safety practices and training for them so that they make it into work okay? If you don't, let's talk about psychological safety. First and foremost, safety culture starts at the top. You are the top. You are the one who controls whether or not there's going to be any safety training. Employ experts to let your people know that it is important to them. Number 2, establish a safety committee. Don't just establish it, empower them. Let them do their jobs. Someone from each level of the organization needs to be on the committee. In the beginning, you need to set the schedule for the whole entire year. That way it gets done. They need to be responsible for bringing in training, for making sure there's safety content, and letting everyone know during safety, any kind of meeting, that safety is important. If you write a check, they will listen. If an organization invests in something, then the employees know that this is something important to them, they will listen. Psychological safety means that your people feel comfortable speaking up without fear of retaliation, retribution, or punishment. If they see something, they will say something. So instead of seeing a headline or being on the receiving end of a lawsuit, you will know that there is something wrong before it gets to that point. So what if there's someone in your organization who's being targeted, who's being bullied, who's being harassed? What do you think is going to happen? One of 2 things. 1 is they will leave. You have to replace them. Number 2, they will stay there and you won't get the best of them and your business won't either. Google is the answer to a lot of things. Google did a survey and they found out what makes a great company is a company that is psychologically safe. It impacts your bottom line. It impacts your morale. Think about it, that employee who was not psychologically safe, if that person leaves because you're not addressing their issue, you are going to have to replace them. That costs money. If they stay there and they sabotage your business, you are going to eventually have to replace them and maybe even replace some clients. I have to tell you that expertise is important, especially in the safety world. Yes, your employees could probably multitask and do other jobs, but you need to rely on experts, whether it's safety, whether it's accounting or legal experts. Let experts do their jobs. It lowers your liability. If you do everything in your power and you have safety training in place and something happens to one of your employees, you're less likely to be sued. It's reducing your risk. So you talk to your risk manager and your insurance company, and I guarantee you it's going to save you money down the line. We keep hearing about AI, we hear about social media. Embrace it. Don't put your head in the sand and think that your employees aren't going to use it. They are using it. And if they aren't using it right, it's going to catch up with you if you don't have a governance and a safety policy in place. It's coming directly back to the organization. What you need to do is you need to wonder whether or not your company has done everything that it can to keep your employees safe. You need to assess what's going on and then do something about it. So can your sales agents, can your staff members, can your vendors come to you if something is wrong? If you haven't heard anyone come to you with complaints or with concerns or even great ideas that may be a little off the wall, then something is wrong. You need to make sure they understand that they can. One thing you need to do is you need to have regular safety training. Put it on the calendar now. Don't wait until something happens. You also need a safety plan. That means you work with an expert and you develop a safety plan on the job, off the job, and you take it seriously and you enforce those policies. The very first thing that you must do is you need to assess where you are. Where are we? Do we have any safety issues? If so, how do we get around them? What is the solution? That's where an assessment comes into place, and that's what I'd love to talk about, is looking at where you are and what the next steps are. So make sure that you have a safe workplace. I want to thank you all so much. Be safe.
All right.